Did you know Chun-Li has 5 different appearances, one for each stack of enflammement she has? Oh, you did? Well, don't worry, because that's just one of 7 reasons why Chun-Li is incredible. Back to her design, Chun-Li is inspired by the Vermilion Bird, and so her clothing shares the cycle of death and rebirth you might expect of a phoenix. The more stacks of her Forte circuit she gains, the more her clothes burn away. Not all of them, thankfully. I've got a channel to run. At 0 stacks, she's got her full outfit with no flourishes. At 1, she gains this little flame. At 2, her clothes start burning. At 3, her jacket burns off. And at 4, she gains a blindfold. Really rocking that 2B chic. Since Chun-Li's Resonance Liberation fills her Forte gauge, you should probably use it at 0 stacks, but even if you don't, her current appearance carries over to this too, culminating in this sweet animation of her blindfold burning off. That is some excellent attention to detail. Somehow, that's not all. Chun-Li actually has one more appearance modifier. When she enters True Sight, the feathers of her hair glow and her ribbon is set alight. It lets you know that her next attack will grant her a stack, and it looks awesome. Coincidentally, her robe is made entirely of flames, which explains why she can manifest it and destroy it as she likes. My personal favorite look is 2 enflammement stacks with the burning jacket. Really activates my crow brain. Speaking of shiny things, let's talk about ore. It's everywhere and kind of a pain to collect. You could summon Jue or Dreamless to smash all the rocks in your vicinity, but then you have to deal with cooldowns, or in Jue's case, randomly hitting enemies who are at a higher elevation than you are and getting stuck in combat. You could even bring out someone like Jianxin, who can one-shot ore with a plunge attack, but it's just so much effort. What makes Chun-Li so amazing is that she can obliterate any rock with a single tap of her basic attack thanks to its multiple hits. And the radius is wide enough that she can break a few rocks in close proximity to each other. I get it though. I'd also crumble under a single one of her touches. But if that range falls a little short for you, her Resonance ability, which has 2 charges by the way, is a much wider area of effect attack that will smash loads of nearby rocks. It's not quite Dreamless, but it'll do. When farming echoes across the world, there's nothing more convenient than resonators who can hit multiple enemies at once. We've already established that her resonance skill is a big AoE, and shockingly, that has more uses than just breaking rocks. Most of Chun-Li's damage is resonance skill damage, so this thing can really pack a punch. Especially with the aforementioned 2 charges allowing you to do it practically back to back. The range on her basic attacks is decent, but Chun-Li has 2 other big damage skills that also happen to have a big blast radius. When she's got all 4 stacks of enflammement, hold down the basic attack button to unleash this beautiful attack. Chun-Li's Resonance Liberation is even stronger, and if it doesn't finish the job, the 4 enflammement stacks it grants Chun-Li might. There might be some stragglers who have wandered out of her range, and for that, Chun-Li is a big fan of aimbotting. When she gains the True Sight buff and her hair glows, her next ground attack will zoom her towards the enemy. She can even dash towards enemies out of your field of vision, a real cheater. Best of all, Chun-Li excels in the air just as much as on the ground, so giant flying enemies like Jue, who are irritating to fight with many other resonators, are no problem at all for Chun-Li. She can even reach the subscribe button, and so should you. It goes without saying that Chun-Li has some of the best special effects in the entire game as of version 1.1, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It could have just been boring old fire, but Chun-Li's red and pink effects take surprising shapes that show her mastery of her forte. Feathers are everywhere, harkening back to her design, letting you know that she's the complete package. From her look, to her story, to her skills, you will not forget that she's an uncooked chicken. Chun-Li's basic attack string is incredible and makes you feel like you're amazing at the game even if you've just picked it up for the first time and have no idea what you're doing. The after images seen throughout help sell this idea that she is blisteringly fast. After her basic attacks, she pulls out her parasol, letting you know her job is done and she's predictably victorious. Either that, or you forgot to keep pressing buttons. In the air, she's fluid like water, but not floaty in a bad way. It gives her this sense of being ethereal, of commanding power. You can see this fluidity in her gorgeous menu animations as well. Nothing quite says power like her looming Resonance Liberation though. Chun-Li puts herself above the enemies both figuratively and literally. After rising like a phoenix, she regenerates all her enflammement stacks only to burn out again. The cycle of death and rebirth is everywhere, and it's captured perfectly between her dazzling effects and changing wardrobe. This one isn't specific to Changli, but it's a useful feature nonetheless. As a fusion character, she can make good use of Inferno Rider for traversal. Hold down the Echo skill button and she'll speed towards your destination. Pair her with other fusion characters like Encore and you'll have multiple sets of wheels to make use of. Sure, you could swap to a team of any 3 characters carrying Inferno Rider, but it's so much better when you don't have to think twice about changing parties when you actually need some damage. Speaking of going fast, as of 1.1 she's the first 5-star character to use the tall female model. This makes her one of the fastest female characters available, and with that high running speed comes better jumping height too. If there's one flaw Changli has, it's that she won't stop saying "make it fast" whenever I press sprint. Please, Kuro, stop giving characters voice lines for sprinting. Changli is a character who excels at a quick swap playstyle. In other words, she will remain on field to finish many of her attacks even when you swap to another character, a technique known as swap cancelling. This is especially funny when you swap off her plunge and watch her fall to her doom. A character you're not actively controlling is invulnerable to damage. Swap cancelling from Changli allows you to dish out extra hits with a different character during the precise moments where Changli is most vulnerable to enemy attacks. If you're aiming to do as much damage as possible while receiving as little damage as possible, this is what you'll need to do. But I think it's fair to say that not everyone wants to play the game like that, and not everyone physically can, especially on mobile devices. Fortunately, Changli is extremely fun to play even if you're doing the bare minimum. You can decide you never want to swap from Changli and still have a good time. Some people really love playing solo characters, and Changli is a good fit for those who do. So, are you team quick swap or team solo carry? Just remember that she's not invincible during her animation locks, and with 0 sequences, she's liable to get slapped right out of her cool attacks. Maybe that will inspire some players to try out quick swap gameplay just a little bit. Or maybe instead you'll prefer to get her to sequence 1, which grants Changli resistance to interruption. Many close-ranged characters struggle to hit puzzle elements in midair, but not Changli. Changli's midair basic attack will cause her to float in the air, and she can even gain upward momentum from her attack string. Until the final attack where she'll just plunge to the ground, at least. Swapping between Changli and Verena can pretty much keep you in the air forever, or at least until your stamina runs out. The way I see it, Changli is Wuthering Waves' open world queen. If you're the kind of person who loves mostly sticking to one character for exploration, few can do it all as efficiently as she can, and certainly not as beautifully as she can. It's true that she might not have the raw nuking power of Jin Shi, but Changli more than makes up for that with her wide swings and snappy playstyle. There's a lot more to a character than how big their numbers can get. Personally, I put a lot of value in how fun a character is to explore the open world with, and that's where Changli truly shines to me. Thanks to some of Wuthering Waves' more questionable decisions, you can't avoid using gun characters forever, but with Changli, you can certainly try. What's wrong with guns? Well, they kinda interrupt the flow of the game, and you can find out exactly how and what can be done about it in this video.